Thanks for joining us today. I'm Carmen Amon, and you're watching the Daily News with the Pulse. Recently, a large earthquake devastated Japan. Shortly after that, the earthquake caused a massive tsunami about 3 stories high that destroyed the homes off the coast of Japan. The earthquake and tsunami caused not only the destruction of the country's terrain, but also led to the malfunction of one of the country's largest nuclear reactors. Here's Tina Lee with the footage of the damage and the reactor.
Thank you, Carmen. I'm live in Sendai, Japan. It has been several weeks since the destruction of the earthquake and tsunami that devastated the people of Japan. It tore down thousands of homes, leaving many people without shelter. Right now, there is still a lot of debris strewn across cities. Behind me is one of the nuclear reactors that malfunctioned due to the quake and tsunami, causing the nuclear crisis in Japan. For more details on the functions and effects of nuclear reactors, we have Caroline Bills, an expert on nuclear power.
Thank you, Tina. In simple terms, a nuclear reactor is a device that generates large amounts of energy within a nuclear power plant. The energy of a nuclear reactor is created through the fission of, usually, uranium. Fission is when the nucleus of an atom is split into many lighter nuclei, which is accompanied by the release of energy in the form of heat. This heat is then used to boil the water that is circulating through the reactor, which in turn gives power to the generator. The generator is the machine that converts the mechanical energy from the pressure of the boiling water into electrical energy. Once the generator creates electrical energy, it can be extracted for use, and the water continues to circulate to keep the reactor cool. This is where the problem originated in Japan's nuclear reactor. The combination of the earthquake and tsunami disrupted the reactor's ability to cool. Therefore, it began to exceed the threshold of safe temperatures within the reactor's core. The rods that contain the fuel eventually began to melt, allowing above-average amounts of the radioactive material to seep out of the nuclear reactor and into the atmosphere. Radiation can be very dangerous to humans, which is why Japan has so quickly taken action to prevent any further exposure. Now, back to Carmen to provide more details on the effects and precautions taken regarding Japan's nuclear crisis.
Thanks, Caroline. About 140,000 people living within 20 miles of the plant were ordered to evacuate the area or to stay indoors. There were reports that radiation levels in Tokyo, about 175 miles south of the nuclear power plant, were about 20 times higher than normal. So far, only about 50 or so of the plant's workers have been exposed to the dangerous radiation levels while trying to shut down the plant. Radiation is measured in REMS, a unit of measurement describing the absorbed dose of ionizing radiation in human tissue, equivalent to 1 X-ray flash. When exposed to 100 REMS of radiation, nausea occurs. With 200 REMS of radiation, symptoms include hair loss, suppression of the immune system, vomiting, and bleeding. About after 300 REMS of radiation, only about 50% of people exposed survive. Once radiation levels reach 600, no human can survive. There is no cure for radiation sickness once exposed. In Japan, the best precaution possible is one that the government is already putting into action: evacuation. Wherever it is that a power plant is leaking radiation is exactly where you do not want to be. It is preferable that people are evacuated to a distant location as possible.
And this has been News with the Pulse. Thank you, Karen.
My voice sounds weird.